In this video, I'm going to explain how the meaning of life works and how you can live a more meaningful life. So the first thing that's essential for a meaningful life is what I like to call mattering. Simply put, the things that matter to you are the principles you use to decide which state of affairs are better or worse than others. This is necessary because all of human perception is based on contrast. There can be no light without dark. There can be no winners without losers. And so unless you have the ability to look at two possible futures and decide that one is better than the other, you have no reason to get out of bed in the morning to make one of them real. And so how does it come to be that something can start mattering to us? Well, generally there needs to be some kind of truth underlying it. Life matters because you believe morality is real. Rituals matter because you believe God is real. Gender roles matter because you believe sex is real, and choices matter because you believe free will is real. But there's a problem with this, because the philosophy of metaphysical anti-realism has taken hold. And oh, anti-realism loves to mess with us, because according to the modern narratives, gender isn't real, masculinity isn't real, sex isn't real, race isn't real, countries aren't real, the West isn't real, God isn't real, morality isn't real, beauty isn't real, and free will isn't real. And so if nothing is real, if you don't believe anything, then we've cut down the pillars that have been holding up our mattering, and suddenly it's impossible to accurately navigate the world. But you want to know what makes anti-realism truly dangerous? The fact that it's correct. Logically speaking, there is no such thing as an object. Tables aren't real. There is only the atoms making up the table, which we perceive as being arranged table-wise. There is no such thing as gender. You cannot look on the periodic table and find an atom of gender. There is also no evidence for God. Free will contradicts the basic laws of thermodynamics, and both morality and beauty are subjective. And guess what? This channel is dedicated to virtue philosophy, and part of virtue is always telling the truth. And so I refuse to lie to myself and pretend that these things are real just because it would improve my life. And so if anti-realism proves that nothing logically matters, but we need things to matter, then what are we supposed to do? Simply put, stop using logic. Now, I definitely don't mean to throw out logic altogether. I simply mean that we should acknowledge that logic has nothing to do with mattering. And so when we tell ourselves that things matter to us, we need to stop trying to base that on some objective fact in the world and simply embody the fact that it's real as an undeniable fact of our neurology. And so there are a few ways to find and maintain mattering. The first is effort and sacrifice, because if your body sees that you're putting so much into a certain pursuit, it will retroactively assume that there must be a good reason for it. This is a well-studied, uncontroversial fact about psychology, and is the reason that religions often require its participants to undertake sacrifices. Because if every day you show yourself that you are willing to give up pork from your god, that proves to yourself that it matters to you. Another method for cultifying mattering is to look at the things you're already doing and to actively cultivate gratitude towards them. If you like the UFC, for example, you can turn your brain off and just enjoy it, or you can mindfully be aware of everything you appreciate about it. Consciously paying attention to the bravery of the athletes or the complexity of the competition, and subsequently working out that bravery and complexity must be things that matter to you. And so actionable step number one in this video is to look at your life, at the things you're already participating in, and try and work out what deep aspects of them are resonating with you. Then once you've started to identify your values, try to actively embody them, even if this requires sacrifice. So for example, if you enjoy walking in the woods, try and write down everything that you're grateful for, such as the animals. Cultivate that joy, donating either money or time to help animal conservation. Bang! Now you've got a value that's deeply important to you, a value that you can organize your life around, and maybe even build community around. Okay, so the second thing you're going to need to live a meaningful life, so the second thing that's required to live a meaningful life is community and relationships. Once you've found something that matters, you can find other people that think that thing matters as well. And this force that you all care about pushes you together as a community, forces you to interact, and makes those interactions more meaningful. Either with written down things like constitutions or just embodied in the social relationships between people, values and rules and rituals always emerge out of groups and give you even more things to pay attention to. Because guess what, motherfuckers? Broicism doesn't work. You cannot live a meaningful life stuck in your room. You can only find it when you connect with people. And the thing that's great about communities is that in order to stay together, they require deeper values and rules to be created. And these values, rules, and social roles tell you who you are as a person. If you just see yourself as you, a creative project for self-expression, then insecurity can creep in, because what if you're not good enough? And guess what, motherfucker? You will always feel that way. You will never feel good about yourself, because there is no such thing as good enough. It is a horizon you are forever running towards without ever actually meeting it. Because when you're in a community, you're not just yourself anymore. You're a follower, a leader, a witness, a child carer, a voter. You form a complex social web, you start to become something greater than yourself, and you start to learn your place in the world. These social interactions are then reified and given even more meaning through rituals. Now your mattering and social relationships have formed a mutual bond. Because if something matters to you, you're forced to be around other people to fulfill that, and when you're around other people, they force you to engage in sacrifice and rituals which further entrenches the thing that matters to you. Now we got some momentum building, now we have a serious foundation to build on, now we can take this even further. As the third thing you're going to want to develop is purpose. Purpose works in a kind of funny way. Imagine a word like and. The purpose of the word and is to join together two nouns. If you were to imagine a language which only has a word for and no other words, its purpose would suddenly be taken away. Because unless there's something that needs you, then there's nothing that your purpose could be fulfilling. And need is only possible if you have the aforementioned value system and community that tell you what's needed. Because purpose can't be found solely within yourself. Purpose can only be a relationship that you have with the world. And so purpose can give you something that nothing else can. It can make you grateful for hard times. Because unless it's the case that you were once weak, you can't make it your purpose to become strong. Unless there are people suffering in the world, you can't make it your purpose to improve their lives. And so while this doesn't make it okay that there's evil and suffering in the world, it will help you for the first time learn to accept them. And suddenly when you're accepting things in the world, you can start to transcend suffering. Things matter to you, and so the world is filled with beauty, and as purpose allows you to be grateful for hard times, the evil in the world starts to dissipate. And while the world will never just be sunshine and rainbows, I promise that if you've been following everything so far, you can start to turn yourself into somebody who fundamentally loves and says yes to the world. An optimist. Because at the end of all this, do you want to know what meaning actually is? Meaning is a relationship with everything around you. Because there are an infinite number of things that you could value in life. You could value money, you could value your own happiness, you could value your ego. But meaning is the only thing you can value that will help you transcend the ugliness of this world. And that's why meaning is worth building. Because meaning is not some imaginary cloud up our heads for philosophers to pontificate about. Meaning is a practical reality in our lives that it's up to us to build every single day. And if you've enjoyed this guide and want more practical advice on how to build that meaning, make sure to subscribe to my channel because I talk about this all the time and my DMs are open on Instagram and Twitter. Thank you for watching.